So Digimon Adventure returns to us after quite a big break due to the whole coronavirus situation, and with it brings some new Digimon forms. We get to see, I think, brand new Digimon, but then again, it's been a very, very long time since I watched the first two Digimon Adventure series. A lot of this is going to almost feel new to me despite knowing the original anime and things like that, but just seeing creatures that either I haven't seen before or haven't seen before in a very long time in a new coat of paint is always a fun feeling, and hell, we get Birdramon in this episode, who is actually one of my favorites for the main cast in terms of their second evolutions. There's always something really cool about almost a phoenix-like bird flying through the sky and burning bitches left and right. Now before we jump into some of the fun content, I do want to jump into probably the elephant in the room, because I've seen a lot of discussion around the animation in episode 4. Some people saying, oh, maybe there's a lot of slideshow animation, and what I mean is there's plenty of shots outside of the gorgeous transformation scenes, which are beautiful, remarkable. They change even Agumons into Greymons, which I was shocked by, and most likely what we saw with Birdramon as well as Greymon is what we're going to probably see for the remainder, at least of the first core, if they decide to change it up again. There's a lot of times where you just see literally, it looks like a PNG and it's moving around as if you're dragging it in Microsoft Paint or something like that. And some people are saying, oh, it's probably because of coronavirus. They were trying to get episodes done before coronavirus and they probably just moved on to the next one. But I also did hear, and someone can fact check me, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe this episode might have been done by a single animator. If that's mistaken, do forgive me, that's just what I was reading from a few different people. I didn't really fact check, so, I mean, don't shoot the messenger. I'm not saying this is 100% factual, but I did read that potentially it's done by an animator who's known for being very fast, but not the greatest quality when he gets his work done. And if that's the case, it would explain quite a few things, but at the same time, it could just be because of a lot of things happening. But nonetheless, despite it may not being the most visually pleasing episode, if you compare the first 3 episodes to this, it definitely looks underwhelming and a lot more lackluster visually than the first 3 episodes. But there was some flash there. There was something that really did still stun me and take my breath away, and that's the animation for transforming and a couple of the attack moves. And if that's something that can at least stay there for the remainder of this anime, that's all I really ask for, because I imagine most likely the next few episodes, they may not be episodes 1 through 3 quality, because honestly, the intro and the ending of an anime is always going to look the best, or the key episodes where they're really putting in all their resources, but still, I don't expect episode 4 is going to be the staple of what the normal or mediocre Digimon episodes are going to look like. I think it is a multitude of factors. One, trying to get episodes done on time, doing whatever you can, slapping, the people who can get the episode done on the lesser quality episodes, so the big key episodes can be the flashiest. It's not something that, made me go, oh my god, this is ruined, Digimon is ruined. No, I just kind of watched it and I was like, yeah, that doesn't look the best, I'm gonna be 100% honest, but I also remember how the original Digimon looked, and it wasn't always sunshine and rainbows. There was also a lot of, questionable animation techniques, so even though this is modern and that's not an excuse that you should try to move more, there's a lot of shit happening in the world, so I feel like a lot of people are going to be more forgiving for visual shortcomings, or at least so I hope. But overall, this episode was pretty much, I mean, you can tell it wasn't designed to be like, oh my god, you waited a month, here's the most explosive episode, no one knew Corona was going to take the world by storm and cause things to be delayed for weeks if not months. So this wasn't the most explosive of episode. This wasn't episode 3 that we waited for. To be honest, I kind of wish it was, because imagine coming back after such a long break getting episode 3 of Digimon Adventure. That would have been just absolutely extraordinary, and probably would have made people maybe love episode 4 a bit more, because I haven't seen a lot of hype around this episode, and that could just be because a lot of people didn't know what came back on Saturday there, or maybe just because it's not the most action-packed episode. Maybe there's just not a lot of buzz in terms of, well, I mean, there wasn't a lot that happened. It was still, oh, Soars here. Oh, we got Birdramon. We got, okay, yep, we're seeing more and more new transformation scenes. People are kind of just rolling with the Digimon world pretty casually. I'm like, okay. I mean, you are a kid, so I guess this is kind of like, a dream come true. You're in a new world. You're like, oh, we're inside the internet and we got these cool Pokemon-looking creatures. Oh, it's not Pokemon, it's Digimon? Hey, I'm cool with this. It's something that on one hand you think, they're kind of rolling with this a little too casually, but then on the other hand you realize their ages kind of make them adaptable in a lot different of a way than an adult or even a teenager would be, so it kind of makes sense. And something I have to give a lot of credit to is the visual directing for the background set pieces. I think I might have touched upon it in the episode 3 review, or one of the first 3 reviews. I love the background details for just what we're seeing. There's a lot of greens and there's also a lot of soft blues, but it pops out. This feels like a vibrant world that feels familiar to an Earth-like setting, but also vastly different as you see dinosaur-looking creatures roaming the Earth, some of which look like Agumon, which I absolutely love, but there's just so much attention put into the set pieces that it almost excuses sometimes the underwhelming character designs when they're not even just in the wider shots, they're kind of medium shots, if not close-ups, and you're kind of looking at them being like, you know, that's pretty underwhelming. There's a cool Digimon, but it's underwhelming for Agumon or Tai or things like that. But then you just look to the details in the background, there is so much attention put into just the leaves on trees. There is so much quality background detail, and the fact that we're just in the intro of Digimon Adventure, I can't wait to see either some reimagined of some of my favorite set pieces in Digimon, if not completely new ones, because I can only imagine how much quality they're going to put into this, because unlike with a lot of character designs which have to move, backgrounds are kind of static for the most part, unless a Digimon comes trampling down a tree or something to that nature. So putting in the time to just have a really crisping quality background, you can reuse that and recycle it quite a bit and not have to really worry about having to animate it, so you don't have to pull away and, you know, suffer quality loss. So there's a lot of potential for the background details, and I'm going to stick by something I've been thinking for a while. I think Digimon might have some of the best set pieces going into, I guess now the summer season, because I mean spring season didn't really last too long for Digimon. We got 4 episodes of it before jumping into summer, but still, I think we're going to have some incredible background work, especially seen by the end of the episode when they started teasing us a bit more. You see like almost like a rainbow like pyramid in the background, things like that. There's some remarkable details put into this, and overall, it was a fun return episode. It didn't do anything extraordinary, I would say, but that's not really me saying, oh, it's a shitty episode. I had fun. Honestly, it felt like 15-ish minutes, not a full 22 that we watched. So that's a pretty damn good sign that we're 4 episodes in and we're not needing the flash of the first 3 episodes to keep me interested in watching Digimon Adventure week by week, and I still think this is going to be a fun one to review. The one thing I think that Digimon has going for it that kind of makes it timeless in the same way that a lot of the Pokemons, the Yu-Gi-Ohs, just things like that have going for it, is the fact that it has something that feels innocent. It feels like it doesn't matter if you're a kid, doesn't matter if you're a teenager, it doesn't matter if you're an adult. There's something about watching this epic adventure that you just think to yourself, if only we had that when we were kids. If only we got to go to a magical world where we had these like little partners that wanted to be our friends, wanted to just fight the world and save the world and just make these memories that yes, there's danger to it, but what kid didn't want to go on some sort of epic dangerous journey? How many kids pretended to be pirates or cowboys, things like that, something that is dangerous by design, but you just felt like you wanted to go on that adventure because the aesthetic, the setting was cool and interesting. But with stuff like Digimon especially, where the Digimon talk to you, they build these relationships, like the fact that you have this little bird crying and scared, and because of a nice girl holding her clothes, she becomes this powerful, almost phoenix-looking creature. Like, there's something about that that just screams wonder and magic. And that's something that honestly Digimon is pretty unique with, because even though I love my Pokemon, don't get me wrong, there is a major difference with Digimon in the sense that you build a lot more closer connections, because rather of like a human and animal-like relationship, you honestly have a person relationship because you have that dialogue. You actually can talk verbally and you also get that physical contact. And that what makes the entire growth of the cast so interesting, that you can look at some of these things and say, why is Sora just so easily adapting to the situation? Then you just really focus in and hone into just her relationship with her newly found Digimon partner, or you have Izzy and just like what's going on with his world and how his side's a lot different than the side that we're on with Tai and them. There is a lot to this show that even though you can look at an episode such as this and say, oh, not a lot happened, you know, we're just kind of meeting another character, seeing some new Digimon forms, some pretty fun action, even though there wasn't too much to it, though that moment where you just see that fish above Greymon's head, that was pretty badass, I have to say. It still felt like we just were excited for more. At least that's how I'm feeling. It's nothing extraordinary of an episode, but it was fun. And that's all you really need to do for Digimon. At its very worst, keep it fun. At its very best, like just stun us with great character arcs, great story hooks, or just stunning Digimon fights, because sometimes the fights are remarkable. Just look at the intro to this anime. This show knows what it's doing. I still believe that first and foremost, and depending on where they go with the story, especially with the first core that they want to do with this, it's going to be interesting. Hopefully no more delays, but if they have to do delays for the health of the workers or just the quality of the anime, absolutely take it, because I'd much rather multiple delays before getting another good first 3 episodes and have to keep suffer some almost PNG slideshow animation for weeks upon end before we get that next Greymon fight or something to that nature, but still, enjoy my stay with Digimon Adventure for sure. But if anyone checked out episode 4 of Digimon Adventure, the reboot, the retelling, the reimagining, do let me know your feelings down below. And if you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like to show your support, and remember to hit that subscribe button if you happen to be new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.